Sure. Word of caution from your end, and definitely need of the hour. But then I'll just take you back on your report that you also presented to the regulator. A few technical aspects. Now, since you've been explaining all of this in very simple layman language, it's beneficial for our viewers and also safeguarding them, Mayank. So going ahead in that, regarding implied volatility, you flagged out that IVs move up before the move came. So I want to understand to what extent does this reflect a pattern versus outright puppet master manipulation? I'm just clubbing few questions. You can answer all of them, okay? Other question is, expiry day volatility appears to be the key player as per your scrutiny. Now, how did Jane Street strategies evolve from targeting less liquid mid caps to the heavily watched Bank Nifty and Nifty 50? And third question, this was actually Ankur wanting to point out, and you can ask Ankur.
No, I just wanted to know whether it is just Jane Street or there can be other entities, because you were not entity specific. You are saying that market manipulation is at play.
Okay, lot of questions to answer, Mayank. You can go now.
Yeah, so I have lost track of the first question actually. Could you repeat the first question?
Volatility that you have mentioned, it goes up
fine,
before the move comes.
Fine. Yeah, so see, that is the basis for seeing that all these manipulative patterns are playing out. What is happening is options have a parameter called implied volatility, which is a measure of how cheap or expensive options are. What used to happen is that, there are two kinds of expiries, which I'm sure your research has sort of revealed to you, but I'll just lay it out for the audience. There are two kinds of expiries. One is a quiet expiry and one is a volatile expiry. In quiet expiries, what you would see is that IVs would, absolutely plummet. They would fall through the floor. And it would be bizarre. It's like, I have given an example at other places that it's like a real estate property which often sells for, in 2-3 crores or whatever, selling for maybe 2-3 lakhs. It becomes obscenely cheap on quiet expiries. IVs becoming cheap means that options are very, very cheap. They are being priced very cheaply, and market participants, like a lot of, prop desks, like myself included, would keep wondering as to why someone would potentially be selling options at such low prices. Now, when you sell options, okay, the money is meant to be made when the market stays extremely quiet, because then you pocket all the premium of the sold options. So what the manipulating entity on quiet expiries, what they would do is that they would sell options heavily and then maintain the index in an enormously tight range. There could be the India-Pakistan war going on. There could be US-China trade war going on. There could be any news flow, but they would not let the index budge. It would be in a very, very tight and constrained range from where it would not be allowed to move, so that all the options that they've sold, they pocket the entire premium of all those options. This was the first construct. It is very odd for IVs for implied volatilities to become this cheap, as in the example which I gave. A real estate does not ever sell for 2-3 lakh rupees. Now, in case you, as someone who's seen the real estate, saw it at 2-3 lakh rupees and ended up buying it, then you would suffer a heavy loss instead, because the manipulator will take it to zero. So that was the quiet expiry. The second expiry was a volatile expiry, the second construct. In a volatile expiry, what happens is that through the morning hours, by the way, in response, I'm answering question number 1, but in response to partly question number 2 also.
Yeah, right.
All this manipulation is focused on expiry days. This is an expiry day phenomena, by and large. There have been, here and there instances of this happening on non-expiry days also, but by and large, it is an expiry day phenomena.
Correct.
Okay. So on expiry days in the second construct, which is the volatile expiry construct, he would pick a side. It could be the downside or the upside. And then he would buy options in absolute bulk. He would buy, let's say he's picked the upside hypothetically. It's up to him. It's up to his, whims and fancies. Let's say he's picked the upside. Now in the morning hours, when the market opens at 9:15, he will buy calls, at the money calls, out of the money calls, deep out of the money calls, deeper OTM calls. He'll buy the entire chain of calls.
Yes.
Okay, he'll keep building.
That's right.
This is evident in IVs shooting through the roof. Okay, it's like I've given this example. It's like a handkerchief selling for 1 lakh rupees. Okay, so you are market participants are like, what is going on? Like, this is absolutely obscene and bizarre. Okay, so they would basically shoot through the roof, IVs. People would be left scratching their heads as to what is going on. And then the answer they would get in the last 2.5 hours post 1 o'clock, when there would be a steep up move that would be delivered by the manipulating entity that would end all these calls in the money at settlement.
We agree.
He would end all of those heavily profitable. This is a pattern which is repeated on practically all indices. It's not Bank Nifty, something that has that only has been picked up by SEBI, but it's actually been repeating on all mid caps like Fin Nifty, Bank Nifty, Nifty, Sensex, all indices.
Mayank,
So
that's right. We actually bombarded you with questions, but this one was very much required. And the deep dive analysis which you have done, yes, this is an investor awareness topic in itself, and the addiction is big, and that's the reason. Like I said, it's a burning hand-like situation which the participants are really getting trapped in. Thank you so much for your attention to this, for being kind enough to discuss this. And in fact, this is a topic in itself, and it will definitely take more than half an hour if we take in detail and discuss
But
about
he
this
explained in very simple languages. I think that was the biggest takeaway for our viewers.
crisp and brief. Thank you so much for that, Mayank. Moving ahead.